Samantha.
Doing fantastic. How you guys doing?
Good,
Doing great.
good. Well, thank you for joining us today. And I'm joined by my co host extraordinaire, Mr. Chuck Bowser, RCDD Tech. And our featured guest of the day is Samantha McDonald from Nika. And
Hello.
our topic today will be highlighting really branding and marketing in the technology space, in the tradesman space, construction space. And you've got three people who have a lot of experience in doing so. And we're really going to take a deep dive into really taking a look and how you too can benefit from social media marketing, branding, etc., and some tips that we're going to share with you today. So, again, I'm joined by my friend and colleague Chuck Bowser. You want to introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit more about you?
So my name is Chuck Bowser. I am an RCDD Bixie technician, Bixie member of the year. Been in the industry for 41 years, so I've got 1 or 2 days worth of experience. I'm Even though I do have a lot of experience, I'm always a constant learner. I'm running a study group tonight, so I'm always learning because if you don't learn, you're left behind.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with me. And I know you're quite the a lot of people know you, and you've done a really nice job with sharing awareness about the industry and education and really promoting the mentorship and being a mentor. So thank you for that. And Samantha, tell us a little bit about what you are up to and what you're doing and how you're
Ah,
going to be changing the world over there at Nika.
absolutely. So, hello, my name is Samantha McDonald. I am the digital content coordinator here at Nika. I pretty much run all of Nika's social media channels, Elect International, Electrical Contractor Magazine. So, we've really brought a different approach to highlighting the industry and all of Nika's offerings online and through our marketing strategies. It's been really awesome.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty full plate, and I cannot wait to get into that a little bit more. My name's Kevelyn Pascos. I am a digital marketer. My expertise is in obviously branding and marketing and communications. I help individuals, and I also help startups to enterprise companies build their brand one step at a time and efficiently. So, again, you can get a hold of any three of us on our LinkedIn page. Underneath our profile pictures, you will find a plethora of contact information that you can catch us or DM us later on. And also, when we're going along with this talk discussion, go ahead and if you've got a comment, go ahead and write it up there, and we'll see if we can catch them all and enjoy the show. So let's get started. Okay, so we are here today because Chuck had met Samantha at the Bixie Nika Summit recently, and that was a pretty big to do. I know getting the two organizations together. Finally, there's been some history there, and to be able to finally collaborate with two just giants in the industry. Tell us more about that. I know, Chuck, I didn't hear really a lot about your experience, and I'd love to hear about what you got out of it too, Samantha. And let's just, after that, dig into more of the branding, SEO, and marketing side of things.
You go first, Samantha.
Yeah, I mean, so I had the honor to attend the Nika Bixie Summit. I was there, highlighting the event, attending the different sessions. And, as someone who is really, I've grown up in the industry. My father was an electrician, but, I've never kind of experienced that. So, there was a session on AI and everything else. It's awesome to see these two organizations come together and, between information communication technologies, electrical construction, it's just really great to see everyone come together for it. And I was highlighting it all on social media. So trying to showcase to people, what they can expect from this and how these two organizations can, help them.
Yeah,
Awesome.
for
Now,
me, it was the first time that I went to. Well, actually, this is the second Nika Bixie event they had. It was my first time going to an event as press. I didn't go there as an attendee. I was there covering the event as Let's Talk Cabling, and I was doing social media posts there and stuff as well. And I kind of when I first went there, I was kind of almost timid. It's hard to imagine Chuck timid. Yeah, because they're electricians. I'm a low voltage guy, and but I just me. I'm a social butterfly talking to everybody. We're different from other. I think I had a blast at every event. The projects failed for hot. say, you know, a lot of great content. Look forward to the next one.
That's awesome. So this was year number 2, correct?
Yeah, you're number
Much one.
Oh, that was your first one. Okay.
Oh, that was your
Yeah.
first one, but they had one last year, I believe, that I think we learned about that as well. And did you go through all of your stickers?
No, but I had to order more because I did put a pretty good dent in them. I
That's
just
awesome.
got them in today.
So if you want
I
a
already
sticker,
promised my
just reach
brother
out
to
to Chuck.
send them that. Yeah.
That's
I love
excellent.
that.
Oh gosh, fun times. Well, again, going to these events, going to these summits, going to these annual shows is really important. Not only to bring in the new blood, if you will, the new enthusiasm, the new life to this industry, is because I think we could all agree here that it's been a little dusty at best. That to get the insurgence of new people and new talent and just new energy to like you said, Samantha, earlier with the technology and social media, you didn't have that 5 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
you got fired if you were on LinkedIn at work, right? And now they're hiring people like us to do that for them because they finally figured it out that, well, they're going to be on LinkedIn anyway. Well, might as well, have them enhance our brand while they're doing it. And
Absolutely.
that's a true story, by the way. I almost got fired for being on LinkedIn. But I think it's fantastic. And so let's talk about branding. Let's talk about SEO. And I know that Nika has been around forever and ever, and how you were able to really take an I guess, a traditional company and make it fun and bring the value and bring the education and bring what Nika is all about in a fun, enthusiastic, educational format, and
Mhm.
also be having the management kind of give you the reins, because as you know, some of this, not everybody's a marketer, so not everybody knows what the heck you're doing. And so tell us about your journey and how Nika found you, and how you got connected, and maybe your followers for Nika that you're able to see to date. Like, how does that look, and
Yeah.
how are things going?
Yeah, I mean, I love Nika. I love this industry. I always tell people, I was so lucky that my dad is a contractor, so I got connected through him, and just through them, I mean, meeting this organization, I actually started, I think we had 500 followers when I first took over the social media. So, and now I think we're at 46,000 on LinkedIn. So it's
That's
grown pretty
awesome.
significantly in like 4 years. But you're right. I mean, this, the industry is pretty traditional with that kind of headspace. And I definitely think it's changed a lot in the last few years with social media. So, it was very traditional in terms of, promoting our events, safety, labor relations, everything else. But there's such a fun way to promote it, highlighting it during videos or photos, these events. So I'm very, very lucky. We have such an awesome team, our public relations team here. We're a fun group of people. And, they definitely gave me the reins to kind of do what I thought would work the best, with TikTok, with random videos. I got a mini microphone interviewing all these people. So just trying to find ways that would kind of change the perception of the Nika brand.
Right.
So instead of being just, this is an association, it's really a community for electrical contractors to gather and, gain all these different resources, as well as come for the events. And with that, you're going to meet other people in the industry. So I think it's definitely changed a lot since I first started, because other organizations like the IBEW, Bixie, they've really also upped their marketing. So we've all been able to communicate and kind of work together to help promote it.
Well, and
Yeah,
you
companies
have
either get
to.
it or they don't get it, right? And this is a battle as old as time. You always
Yeah.
have your early adopters. I
Mhm.
remember a long, long time ago, like early '90s, maybe even late '80s. I went to my boss and I said, we need to. I was going to bid meetings, and people were handing me business cards with this their name and this funny symbol, and then their company name. I was like, "What's that?" No, email. I'm like, "What's email?" So I went to my boss and said, we need to get email, and he's like, "Why?" And the same thing's happening now with social media. I mean, you can either lead the way with social media or get out of the way. A lot of companies talk
Yeah.
big game. They're like, "Oh, we want to attract the best people. We want to get a more diverse crowd." Well, you got to function in the areas they're in if you want to do that. That means
And that's the
TikTok.
best
That means
thing.
Instagram. That means
Yeah.
LinkedIn. I wish I had a dime for every single time when I told somebody I'm on TikTok. They go, "Why are you on TikTok? Do you dance?" No, I don't dance. But I got 4,500 followers on TikTok because there's people on TikTok who want to learn. You got to go where the audience is.
So
Yeah.
I think what you said, Samantha, a little bit earlier was that, and the reins, giving you the reins, because
Mhm.
it is, I've done what you're doing for 3 companies and it was same significant, right? But you gotta let your marketer go for it. And,
Mhm.
obviously to some degree, if there's starting to put political stuff out there, obviously, but
Yeah.
it takes a special personality. It takes somebody that's what you wake up wanting to share with the world is how can I send a message today? What are my messages going to look like? What is my messaging? Because
Mhm.
obviously there's so many things we can talk about in the industry, but you also have to be honorable to your company as well, and bring that brand and make it fun, and in a way make it kind of sexy where people want to learn more about Nika, and it's not just the 4 letters acronym that you see floating around on RFPs or proposals, or
Mhm.
that you kind of maybe catch it once in a while.
Yeah,
But a person
absolutely.
like you, a person like me, it's what I do freelance.
Mhm.
But to be able to understand the priceless concept around bringing in social media and communications to grow your brand, even if it's in a contractor situation like I am, where if they just need a bump, I live in the San Francisco area, and there's general contractors, there's electrical contractors. There's one electrical that has, I want to say, 145,000 followers, right? There's another
Mhm.
electrical that's been in the business for 40 years, 30 years. They have maybe 3,000. So I would say you need some help with your social media, and it's not just about posting. That's what I think a lot of the misconception is, oh, we're going to hire somebody and they're going to just posts all day long.
Yeah.
No, it's the videos, it's coordination, it's
Mhm.
getting published to Cable Maintenance Magazine, it's getting interviews, it's making people do interviews, it's having the concept at golf tournaments to pull people aside and align them properly for that picture, because you already know in your head what you're going to write about. So
It's a
talk a little
huge
bit more.
strategy.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
do you, when you meet with your team, is it a monthly plan that you go about, or is it something that you come up with the idea with relationships and relations, and then you go for it? How does that work?
So we have campaigns, to promote our events and any other things. But I guess for kind of the more out of pocket, non traditional routes I take, a lot of it comes from organically scrolling on social media. So if I'm going through Nika's Instagram feed or something and I see, maybe High Voltage Industries posted something and it's a meme or it's a sort of video, I'll kind of jolt that down in my phone and kind of come back to it either that week or at a later time, kind of brainstorm how we can twist it into something that's more relevant for Nika's audience and then post it that way. And usually, I mean, I talk to my team about it like, hey, is this video idea okay? And always more than supportive. So I'm very lucky that I've been able to do some kind of crazy things with that.
That's excellent. So,
Yeah.
do you do speaking? Like, we all know who Gary Vee is, right? He's the fellow
Oh,
with
yeah.
5 million viewers or
Yeah.
followers, and that guy is a machine. And I know what he does. He goes these speaking engagements, and then they dice them up into clips, and then they distribute it to 15 platforms. Some of them I've never even heard, and obviously he has a team. Is your strategy the same way, where if you make a body of content, it goes on the website, it goes on the web page, I mean, and it goes to the Nika page, it goes to, how do you come up with that, and like what's your game plan?
Yeah, so I mean, for our social media content, just focusing on that one, I typically decide what channels it would perform best on. Sometimes you have to be careful about Instagram because with the reels or with the Instagram stories, you kind of have to change up the content. But when we release a press release, that typically gets published to social media, as well as if our videographer, when we create a video, that will get pushed out to our social media channels. And again, it's more just deciding the messaging of each one, what's going to be more effective. LinkedIn is always considered a more professional platform, so that verbiage is typically a lot more professional versus Instagram and Twitter are a bit more laid back, a bit more fun. maybe more emojis and more hashtags, anything to kind of get people to engage more.
No, that's awesome. Have you signed Nika up for Threads?
I haven't yet. I just joined on my own personal account and I'm trying to kind of get the hang of it. I
Me
like
too.
it, but I don't know if I see Nika fitting into the thread space quite yet.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I too signed up for it personally, and the
Yeah.
first person I see was Paris Hilton over and over and over and
Oh my
over again.
gosh.
And I said,
Yeah.
well, at least she's on early, right? And,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
she got the Barbie jam, you know, she went
Yeah.
there and, you know, obviously, but you know, it's people like that that get in early, and I think that obviously it's the competitor of Twitter. And so
Mhm.
you're a writer as well. So obviously with content, you've got to also decide on, you know, to pitch the idea and to bring the idea to life. And with that, the concept, right? Where is this surrounding a photo? Is this surrounding the summit? Is this surrounding an employee highlight? Is this
Mhm.
so? With that being said, how do you come up? Do you have a monthly plan, or is it this is what we're going to do this week? I feel like based on trends and what things are happening around the company, like this is what I'm going to go do. Like how do you come up
Yeah.
with your calendar of events, if you will?
Yeah. So, I mean, aside from, like I said, aside from the events calendar we have lined up, we do in my social media calendar once a week, I kind of designate one day for more fun content, more memes. Typically, it's a Saturday, so people aren't in work, or it's during the work day, something that kind of breaks up their day. I would say it's kind of here and there. Like you said, with the trends, if something's trending, I'll just throw it into our calendar. But it's kind of all over the place with that because trends change all the time. I can post something on TikTok and it would go viral tomorrow. I think there was a time last year when quotes on LinkedIn were just going crazy. So I
Yes.
made one and I mean, they still are. But at this particular time, I saw one and I thought it was so applicable to Nika's audience. So, I kind of reworded it, made our own graphic that was branded with Nika's colors, our logo, posted that to LinkedIn just on a whim. There was no plan for that. Just that day I posted it and it got over 8,000 likes on LinkedIn. And I think it
Yeah,
was
Nice.
those are
3,000
the ones
likes
that
on.
always go crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because most of my content is technical in nature.
Hmm.
But I did a video, I don't know, like a week ago or so, maybe less than that. And it was I just talked about how to talk to people at conferences because
Yeah.
I fought with that issue because I was never I'm hard to believe I'm actually an introvert. You get me outside of this environment, I'm an introvert. And
Yeah.
so how do you have project start a conversation until somebody sat me down and said, just you gotta learn to read people. Well, I don't know how to read people. And he goes, what kind of shirt are they wearing? What kind of shoes are they wearing? If they're wearing Vans, they probably skateboard or they probably have a son who skateboard or a daughter who skateboard.
Hmm.
Conversational starters. Don't try to go in and start talking about business right out of the gate. Talk about something they love to talk about. Get them go break that wall down. Eventually, you will get to, hey, what do you do for a living? Hey, what's your company doing? So like that.
Yeah.
We did have a question come in, Kev. Somebody wants
I
to know
see that. Let me
what are the
display it for you.
dangers of TikTok?
Oops, not that one.
Yeah, what are the
Sorry.
dangers of using TikTok? I hear so much about privacy issues and data collection. I'm gonna tell you right now, everybody collects data on you.
Hmm.
Everybody. I just don't connect TikTok to any of my other accounts, and and I'm just real careful with what I put on TikTok. I don't. That's why if you look at my feed, you may see some glimpses of my yard or something like that, but you don't see anything personal in my TikTok feed. Nothing at all.
Well, well,
Yeah.
Google and Waze, they get it's just everywhere. You know, it's just, it is what it is. But
Hmm.
no, so let's go back to that 8,000 viral post that you did.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
you take a historic, how long has Nika been around?
I believe we just celebrated 122 years on the
Wow.
17th. So
That is
yeah,
awesome. So
yeah,
you like
good stuff.
that's exactly what I'm about to say is you've got a traditional, old school, historical, positive brand in the industry, and you get a person like you that comes in and flips the switch to social
Mhm.
media. They should have been sharing this stuff 22 years ago on social media.
I know. If social media was around then, that's the thing. But
Right.
yeah. Well,
But
even like you said, Chuck, you made that video about conferences and it's all about relevance. So,
Yeah.
with the calendar, a lot of these things I can schedule times to, post a meme or anything like that that's more not educational, sorry, more entertainment content. But some of those things kind of happen just, when it's more relevant.
Yeah.
So you kind of put on the calendar. But no, you're right. I mean, 22 years ago, I think if social media was around, we could have started recruiting the younger generation because
Yeah.
I know now it's such a huge thing to talk about workforce shortage. The age difference right now, we want to start recruiting younger. And I think, there's a lot of pushback on social media sometimes, just in general in our society, but you can reach really anyone there. And Chuck, like you said, talking about TikTok, that is the number one way to reach these younger people.
Absolutely, it is.
I think it's
Absolutely, it
awesome.
is. I just wish I had done it earlier, because the whole thing for the podcast was to attract young people into this industry because there's a
Mhm.
lot of people retiring from the industry, and so everybody's like, "Well, you need to go to LinkedIn." Well, that's where the old people already are,
Yeah,
and that's a subset of my audience. But my main audience is I'm trying to reach the young generations, the 18, 19, 20, 25, early 30
totally.
year olds. And that's where they are. And that's what's kind of brings me to a question I want to ask you. So there's two types of social media people, right? You have the companies putting out stuff, but there's also a lot of tradesmen creating social media accounts
Mhm.
and putting out their stuff and making content and stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
what are some tips that you might have for somebody who's an electrician or a low voltage installer? What are some tips you might have for them to help them grow their social media presence?
Yeah, I mean, I would say connect with other people on social media as first. I mean, if they find you and they think, this person could be almost a mentor to me on social media, I think kind of framing it that way is you're building your community online and these people are going to help you learn the tips, tricks, anything. You're following in their journey. So I think connecting with other people is a really good way to start. But then, I think engaging with the content so it tailors your algorithm to discover more things. And just following along that path of, oh, this person posted about this, and then see who they tagged, what tools are they using? I think those are the best ways that, connecting with
Right.
industry professionals will help you on social media.
And
Let me ask you a
also,
follow-up question. Let me ask a follow-up question, Kevin, if you don't mind.
yeah.
So what are some of the pitfalls, right, that they need to construct? Because I can tell you two right off the top of my head that if I, as a TikTok user, right,
Mhm.
if I'm following somebody, let's say their channel's about widgets, and I really love their channel about widgets,
Mhm.
and then they start acting poetic about some event. I don't care about politics. I'm here to learn about widgets, about politics. But if you want to talk about politics, create your own personal account. Do that over there. Keep the business account about
Mhm.
business or something related to a business. Keep it professional. And then the
Yeah.
second thing I would tell Warren tradesmen about is be careful where you film. There's some,
Yeah.
especially for our low voltage guys, because you might be in a comm closet shooting this beautiful cable plant that you just routed in and terminated on the patch panels, and then they've got their equipment there, and then there's the IP address on the equipment, and now it's on video, it's out on social media. Any hacker with that IP address hack into that network. Make
Yeah.
sure you get permission. So what are some pitfalls that you can think?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of those are great. I think another big one is OSHA violations. I think someone might be recording a video, whether it be funny, whether it be educational, and you might not realize it, but there might be a huge OSHA violation that is in place. And then you can get in trouble with your employer, with OSHA as it is. So that's something to really think about. But kind of, you said the serial numbers, but also if you're filming in someone's yard, in someone's home, if you're doing residential work, you would have to probably get permission because if that homeowner sees you filming, you're
Yeah.
going to be in a lot of trouble. And again, you're going to get your employer in a lot of trouble. And I think just everyone always talks about this, but your digital footprint is so, so important. So I think just being cognizant about what you say online, refraining from swearing, anything that could make yourself look bad in a few years, or it's going to come back and bite you.
Well,
So I think
there is
those
a
are really
strategy.
important.
There
Hmm?
is a strategy, and I think I heard it on. I think I heard it on Think Media. I think I can't 100% say it for certain. They sometimes deliberately just put one wrong thing in your video that that's wrong, and people are going to comment on you because the algorithm doesn't care if
Heard
it's
of that.
positive or negative comments. They just say, "Oh,"
Mhm.
and I'll give you a perfect example. I love there's this YouTube channel. I can't remember the name of it, where this guy hacks the scammers in India, right? And he goes over and
Mhm.
the people call try to get money out of you and stuff. He hacks them, So he had this hat on, and he delete their files, right? But he
Yeah.
spelled there instead of THEIR, THERE.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told my wife, I was like, come here, look at this. He's got that spelled. I'm like, oh, he's doing that just to get comments, you
Yeah.
know?
And that's the thing. I mean, you can post whatever online. That's the other issue about it. I mean, social media is so powerful and it's such a good tool to utilize. But there's things like that where people are going to intentionally, have something incorrect. So people point it out for more engagement or views, or, people fake stories all the time online, or they're going to post wrong information. And a lot of it is unfortunately for the clout of it all, to gain popularity, to, kind of make money off of it, anything like that. So a lot of things, even unfortunately, if you're going to find a mentor online, make sure they're reliable. And I hate to say it, but you kind of still have to double check it, because they could be posting something totally wrong. I think you posted something, Chuck. I think it was the other day, where someone was talking about a code section and you were looking for it and you were like, I think they're joking with me. I remember that. I
It was
mean,
a joke. It was
yeah.
absolutely. It was,
So,
and because when he quoted the code, I was like, well, first off, low voltage is not in chapter. And
mhm.
then he's like 210.12345. I'm like, and I was like, I gotta make a video about that, and
Yeah.
so it was pure sarcasm. But
It is, no,
somebody
it's
might
pure
not know that.
sarcasm.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah.
might not know that, because sarcasm doesn't come very well across across the video screen sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, no, and I totally get it. But I mean, that person commenting, someone else could have seen it before you addressed it, and they could have, taken it and ran with it and thought that that was completely accurate.
Right.
So that's what I always think about.
So a question that I have for you as well, and this is from some of the things that I've learned. So if you post on the company page and you post on your page, obviously you have to kind of the narrative has to be a slightly different, because you're in third person with them and you're in first person with yourself. How What I understand is the company pages usually don't perform as well as, say, an employee posting something about the page. Do you see that? Has that been an experience of yours?
Honestly, I think it's a mix. I think people, from what I've learned about, posting on Nika social media, I think people tend to engage more with a brand or a company or organization that they connect with on a personal level, because no one wants to follow or engage with a brand. Like, you're looking at it like a company. But I think we really humanize Nika online. And yes, we're very fortunate. We have a lot of chapters and a lot of, just members in the industry posting and tagging us. But I think our company posts do so well because it's so personalized. We humanize the content. It's personal to our contractors, to members of the industry. So I still think, I would say yes and no, but mostly the company page still does really well.
That's excellent, because it's usually not the case. And
Yeah, definitely
I
not.
believe too that you've got to have that special person to be able to bring it to life and not have it
Mhm.
just be a cookie cutter, some person. And we've got a comment from Jeffrey that says many companies don't even have a specific person or team dedicated to social media marketing. Instead, they have some random person doing the task. So
Mhm.
I wholeheartedly believe that. And I feel that if people just do the investment, even if it's for 6 months, get a contractor like me that can do what you're doing in a construction technology environment. It is, I mean, you're going to get deals,
Game
you're going to get
changer.
leads, you're going to get deals. And a little bit about me is I really, really love doing the educational classes, the certification classes. And
Mhm.
that was one of the highlights of my career, is being able to sell the certification classes on LinkedIn. And it was blockbuster. It was huge. And so that is something that these technology companies, the construction electrical companies, can really harness and generate revenue. Invite your friends,
Yeah.
invite your competitors, invite anybody that wants that certificate, because you know what? You're going to probably now be the first company that they're going to want to work with for that next project. So,
Yeah.
it could, and from a LinkedIn post, from a LinkedIn event, it is endless opportunities that are around. So, a couple quick questions. I think we have, Chuck, can you see those on the
Yeah, I
side?
can. Let me talk about the first one. The Beard of Knowledge. Follow him on TikTok if you're not already. He's a great guy, great content. And he says on there, fake news is bad news, but it triggers responses. So my response to that is, why are you on social media, right? And I'm not asking negatively. If you're there for entertainment, then yes, talk about politics and whatever else. But for me, My sole message is to educate and encourage. I don't want to have anybody come away from my channel with any kind of negative kind of feelings or impacts. So that's why I said I do have two separate accounts. I have my personal TikTok, which I post to very rarely. I'm a creative person. Sometimes I want to just create a funny video, but it may not even relate to low voltage. That's going to be on my personal TikTok, right? And
Yeah.
but for as far as the business one, if since mine is geared towards that educational, I'm not going to put out. I'm not going to go in there and talk about Biden this, Trump that, Supreme Court this, that. This. There's a lot of divisive issues out there, a lot of them. But if you're out there just to gain the numbers because you want a huge following, I would rather have 4,500 of super dedicated followers
Yes.
than 120,000 people that are just there because they're waiting for me to say something stupid.
Yeah. So another question for you, Samantha, is when you got hired and it was showtime and it was showtime and go time. So what was your plan? Like you had Nika, you'd not been there before. I don't know a lot about your background. I don't know if you'd worked for a technology company or an electrical company before, but how did you get going? Like help the audience understand
Yeah.
where maybe they can, if they've got somebody that is, maybe they don't want to hire somebody, maybe they have somebody that's interested in it. What are some good, really 5 tips that you can give somebody to help them grow their technology brand?
Yeah. It's funny. When I first started Nika, I was 19. So I was still in college and I was an intern. So I mean, I didn't have any industry knowledge really at all. Like I said, I knew my dad was an electrician. I didn't know anything about that though. So I think the way I started learning about it was, I went through all of our videos. I was going through our website. I was seeing the things that were posted on our social media prior just to kind of gain some more insight. But then I was also talking to just people here, at our headquarters, trying to do whatever I could to learn about the industry, learn what need to go out there. And then like I said, we do have a lot of events. So at these events, talking to contractors, talking to members about what interests them, what they need from Nika, all these things so that I could kind of come back, look at what I learned and then turn that on social media. So I think, for people trying to learn and trying to start up their own social media, because I know I talk to a lot of our members a lot, and I feel like it's so intimidating if you're not someone who's in social media every single day and it's something that you live and breathe, trends, all that stuff. But I always tell people, it's not hard. If you're in that business, you know it better than anyone. So, whatever you think would be appealing to your audience that really tells your brand, company, whatever, their story, that's the best thing to go on social media. I always tell people it's better to do like 80-20. 80% of it's educational or not educational, entertaining. So it's fun content that you really, not that you don't have to think about it, but what do you think is going to get engagement from your audience? Is it a photo of you guys out doing something within your local community? Is it, you guys out on the job site and it's just a fun photo together? And then the other 20% is more educational. But then in addition to that, it's really focusing on the quality of your content that you're producing rather than the quantity or like, how much you're producing. I feel like a lot of people think they need to post 3 times a day, every single day, but you don't. Take your time. Chuck, you had a question?
No, I'm guilty of that 3 times a day. That's
Oh,
me.
yeah.
You
But your
just described
content's
me.
great. Yeah. But it's, if people are just, your content is well thought out and well executed in the way that you do it and you think it through. I know I've talked to people before where they're like, I'm just posting whatever I can and, there's no thought behind it. But, what's your call to action? What's the, what do you want your audience to gain from this? Do you want them to learn something? Do you want them to subscribe to you? Do you want them to sign up for this webinar, this event, whatever it may be? How are you going to tailor the message of, that content to appeal to them and then get them to engage in it?
So, on the heels of that, I want to know. I know that Nika has an apprenticeship program. I know obviously Bixie and Nika are a little bit different, but tell us a little bit about what you know about the apprenticeship program, and how maybe people can get a hold of you to learn more about what the offerings are with Nika, and maybe a website that you can share with us in the audience today and the future.
Yeah. So, I mean, our apprentices would go through our, our local chapters, And because NICA's all over the place, so wherever you are, your local chapter would connect you with the apprenticeship program. I believe on nicanet.org, NECANET.org, you can, find your local chapter, and then from there, it can connect you with, the trade school you want to start at, or whatever companies are NICA members that are in your area, and you can get started in your journey that way.
Excellent.
Does your
And I
does
know,
your
oh,
social media cover the apprenticeship? Do you cover them as well, or do they have somebody else doing that, or do they not have anybody doing social media?
So I would say for the apprentices, that's a lot of user generated content. So our chapters will tag us in something, and then that's a big pillar of content is we're reposting our members. So if Jimmy or Susie is working at this local chapter and they are a first year apprentice, and that company tags us in a post, we're going to repost that and kind of spread the message of that. So that's a lot of user generated rather than, I still seek it out. I try to talk to people, or I just see it organically on social media. But yeah, I would say it's usually their chapters posting and then I'm pulling from it.
but even with this, it's like a popcorn effect, right? It's the
Mhm.
tagging. And I was also told that, kind of keep it between 3 and 5 hashtags because
Yeah.
anymore it's but when you post a photo, one of the biggest photos that most successful was an RCDD, a fellow that just got his RCDD. That thing blew up. And but it's that story, right? And to be able to talk about it and the all of that. So but the tagging, the SEOs, the photos, the videos, obviously these type of what we're doing today, a company can do this with a little effort and a little education that Chuck and I can help anybody
Mhm.
to do this internally with. That say Nika, you can
Yeah.
have a town hall once a month and do this, and maybe bring a couple of your highlighted employees up that have been there for 20 or 30 years or 100 years or I'm sure
Yeah.
maybe not that long, but
Yeah.
um, I mean the options are so vast. And then just real quick, I know that we're kind of narrowing in on. Are we a little over here, Chuck?
6:37. We still have a
Okay,
few minutes, and
okay.
I got a
Um,
question I want to ask you when you get done.
Okay. So, a little bit about some of my experiences in working in the contractor space was um, I felt that it wasn't always adopted very well. And so I feel that if you are going to bring on somebody to do social media, marketing, communications, the whole shoot and match, that it has to be somebody that has got to fit in with the culture of the company. Because if you bring in a
Mhm.
snobby person or maybe somebody that doesn't have, dirt on their shoes or what have you, it's somebody that needs to build rapport real quick. I mean, it's a job site in a way.
Mhm.
And I had some early days experiences with that where it's like this is gonna work. Trust me, this is gonna work. And
Mhm.
I almost felt bad. And so that's the other thing when you have a company that brings on a new person to do social media, give them the reins, trust them, and the proof will be in the pudding. But you've got
Yeah.
to let these people be creative without being told what to do because that will kill creativity in a millisecond. And just really allow your creatives to do what they're doing. And obviously if you're not a creative and maybe you're a manager, a leader, or the owner, be part of those creative meetings and at least take part in the conversations, but don't hold back the content creator. Like
Yeah.
that's something
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they need to be celebrated and really embraced early on because that's how they're going to be able to show off the company and showcase what you're all about. So just take
No,
it easy on
absolutely.
those marketers. They're there for you and they're there to grow the business. So they should
My, my,
be
my, my advice
applauded.
is, yeah, my advice is, don't let the person who doesn't know how to change the time on their VCR be the person who's going to be picking the marketing person.
Right?
Oh yeah. I think it's
But I
good.
No,
wanted,
this is
I
this
wanted to
is
ask you about
great.
hashtags. I want to ask you about hashtags
Okay.
because Kevin said 5 hashtags, and I don't remember how many hashtags I do. It kind of depends. Yeah. Um, tell you what my hashtag strategy is. So I've got a hashtag that I researched beforehand to make sure there's none that it even has that use that same hashtag. That's easy to remember that ties into my industry. And that's Every one of my videos is hashtag CB Chuck Bowser
Mhm.
RCDD, CB RCDD. Every one of my videos has that. So that
Yep.
way, if somebody asks me, how do I find you? Hashtag CBRCD. I'm the whole front page when you do Google on that. But
Yeah.
then the other hashtags kind of depend on what the content is, right? So for example, was it Nika Bixie, right? So I was Bixie 23, hashtag Bixie 23, hashtag We Are Nika.
Yeah.
So that way kind of tied into those two audiences. If I'm talking about fiber, I might do hashtag fiber tech, right? Um,
Mhm.
Beyond that, is there any hashtag strategies that can help someone get some more people? Because it's the algorithm. You got to get more people seeing you so you can get out to
Yeah.
more, you know. So
Yeah.
do you
No,
have
I
any?
think I would say, I mean, I always tell people, it hopefully it's a brand specific hashtag. So ours is hashtag We Are Nika. You said that yours is CB, so that's easily discoverable. And then people that follow you or follow that hashtag, it's going to keep on coming up for them. So something that identifies the actual brand or organization as well as, relevant to the post, like you said, but then also an industry specific one or a few of them. So if I'm posting something for Nika, it'll always have hashtag We Are Nika. If we're at an event, so when we were at the Nika Bixie Summit, so it would be hashtag Nika Bixie 23. And then in addition to that, I always hashtag, electrical construction, electrical contractor, high voltage, low voltage, anything that is relevant that goes beyond just the brand or the account. So it's even more discoverable. And, people on Instagram, I know they always do the classic like love, hashtag pick of the day, things like that. But I think that's too broad because you want to track people in your niche and in your industry. So I think I know Google is a beautiful tool. You can Google, the best performing hashtags for low voltage, for cable, for electrical construction, anything. And that sets you up for success already.
Well,
That's
you and I
awesome.
need to
That's a
talk
great
about that
tip.
after this. Learn that
Oh
trick.
yeah.
Well, I love this, and I so appreciate, having a fellow colleague who is a woman on, really
No.
in the trenches of this
Yeah.
industry. It's so exciting to really be and see the growth of women in technology and electrical fields, construction fields, and just, your enthusiasm is clear as day, and
Thank
Nika's
you.
very, very lucky to have you, as is the industry, and I just I look forward to working with you, and I hope
No,
that
absolutely.
I hope Bixie maybe someday gives me the reins, and so because I think it's so invaluable
Mhm.
to be able to showcase our companies, because they're all very, very special, and just to be able to highlight them, and it's free. It's free. That's like the most amazing element of this LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter. I mean, you have to pay for the subscriptions annually, but other than
Mhm.
that, just great job in what you've done, and the growth of what you're doing. And maybe you might want to think about doing a training for the local chapters to be able
I would
to,
love that.
you
I would
know,
love that. Yeah,
I,
I would
I
love
think
that.
that might be in your future.
I hope
So
so.
So, gosh, Samantha McDonald, thank you so much for joining me. Chuck Bowser, as
Thank you for
always, Chuck Bowser, our CDD Tech. Again, you can get a hold of any of us, send a personalized DM. Go to our LinkedIn page. Underneath our profile picture, you will see a plethora of contact information links for each of us. And we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to understand what topics that you might want to see from us in the future. Chuck and I, this is our show together. It's Low Voltage Chat. We will be doing this again in 2 weeks. And if you are interested in a speaking spot to join us on stage, and if you've got a certain expertise or level of excellence somewhere that we want to learn more about us, or learn more about you, go ahead and contact Chuck and I, and we will get back to you and discuss further. So again, both of you, thank you for being here today, and great show. Samantha, I wish you the best of luck. I'm going
Thank
to
you so
keep my
much.
tabs on you because I love this. And again, thanks both of you for your time today.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Not a problem.
And
Thanks,
we're
thanks
signing
everybody.
off. So have a nice day, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Take care.